Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to do poses that will help with our shoulder strength. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's come onto the knees and stretch forward. So we've got big toes touching, knees apart, blade-shaped bricks underneath the hands, bricks and hands shoulder width apart as you stretch forward. So press the palms, knuckles, fingers into the bricks. You can have potentially the thumb and little finger curling around the outer edges of the bricks, but keep your elbows straight. Head down. Whether the head touches the floor or not doesn't matter, but we're looking for strong, straight arms. We're also looking for length in the front body. So draw the upper breastbone forward towards your hands. Easy, steady breathing. And then raise your head up. Let's put the bricks aside for now. Reach the arms forward again, and we'll transition to Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. So hands are shoulder width. Suction the hands into the floor. Inhale, shoulders forward. Exhale, lift your hips up. Straighten the legs. So the heels can lift as you straighten the knees. Draw the sit bones up. Arms are straight, as well as the legs. Slowly work your heels down. Press back the shin bones, press back the thigh bones. Breathe smoothly. And then come back down onto your knees. Big toes touch, buttocks back to the heels. Cross the forearms. Rest your arms for a moment. And when you're ready, come up, take one of your bricks and put that between your palms. So palms pressing against the outer edges of the brick. You've got a long brick between your palms and the elbows are shoulder width. Keep your elbows contained within your shoulder width as you lift up, similar to a dog pose, but now you're on the forearms. So elbows, forearms, wrists, little fingers on the floor. Push away from the floor. Keep your heels elevated so it helps you lift the sitting bones. When the sitting bones lift, the back can remain straight. So if you want to look towards your feet, that's fine. Look towards your feet, but keep your head pulling away from the floor. And pressurize your inner hands against the brick. Knuckles of the index fingers against the brick. Then bend your knees, come down, have a rest. Feel free to cross your forearms again. Rest your forehead on your forearms. Now we go again. But this time we're going to see if we can have the palms flat on the floor. And you'll have the inner pad of the thumb and the inner pad of the index fingers against the brick. So press against the brick like so. Elbows shoulder width apart. We note that when we start to weight bear, the skin might cause the elbows to slip. So note that and keep the elbows in. Again, lift up. So this is really difficult and you're finding it very challenging. It's hard to keep the elbows in. You could minimize the width of the brick. Make the brick narrower between your hands. But can you pressurize the inner hands down, knuckles of the index fingers down onto the floor, and as you drive the forearms down, lift the chest up, lift the back body up, away from the floor. You keep the heels up so you can magnify the lift of the hips. And then come down, bending the knees apart. Now again, you can cross the forearms, rest your forehead on your forearms. And then come to sit up. So what we're going to try and do is merge from a dog pose to that forearm balance preparation, back to our dog pose, back down onto the elbows. So we'll be using a belt to help guide the position of the elbows, just so that we don't injure our shoulders and so that we're really creating a parameter within which we can work. So let's get our belt. One thing to note, if your shoulders are quite broad, the width of this brick may not be enough compared to the width of your shoulders. So you could potentially add another brick so you've got more width. So that's up to you. What commonly happens when we're descending the elbows to the floor from dog pose is the hands want to slip in towards each other, and that's why we're using a brick, to prevent the hands from slipping in. So let's make our loop shoulder width. You can put the top of the loop around your thumbnail, put the lower part of the loop underneath your elbow, stretch your thumb directly up to the ceiling, and that could be a really good measurement for you. If you put that just above the elbow creases, then you hold your arms out, your elbows and your wrists and hands are in your shoulder width position. Of course, if you need to open the belt, you can. But we're going to start in dog pose. Now in dog pose, we may not have the hands as narrow as the brick, so be mindful of that, but you've still got your hands set close to the brick. So lift into your dog pose. Make sure your belt is taut. There's no point in using it if it slips. So keep the belt firm as the arms are straight. As you push away from the floor, ideally the head fits between your belt and your torso. So that requires creating more length through the sides of the chest, sides of the torso. Now as we prepare to come down onto our elbows, we look forward towards the brick. We start to bring the shoulders forward as we bend the elbows. So the shoulders will come forward somewhat, elbows come down onto the floor, and the brick is there in case the hands want to slip. You don't have to use it. If the hands don't slip, that's fine. Now we want to try and come out of the pose. So you push into the hands, lift the elbows up, and come back to your dog pose. Try not to do one arm at a time. See if you can work both arms. And the stronger you are, the more you work to slow it down. Slow the descent down, elbows to the floor. You look forward towards your brick, and then you push into your hands, lift up, come back into your dog pose. And then let's come down onto the knees. Remove your belt and we'll have a rest. So again, you can cross your forearms, rest your forehead on your forearms. Okay, then when you're ready, come up. And we're going to use this brick again. So the belt, second brick can go aside. But now we're going to hold the brick. So we've still got the long brick, and as we hold the brick, we note that the elbows, again, are shoulder width apart. The forearms are already on the floor, and we're going to lift up like we're doing our forearm balance preparation. But this time we're going to walk in and bring the crown of the head onto the floor, the back of the head against the brick. Pull the brick against the head and lift your shoulder blades up the back. Walk in, heels up, sitting bones up, and the thoracic spine in. And then when you walk out again, push the head up off the floor, look towards your brick, bend your knees, and come back down again. And once more, have a rest. Now we go again. This time, again, we're holding the brick. The idea when we get the crown of the head onto the floor is that we're pulling the brick against the head. So you might like to change the position of the thumbs to come around the outer edges of the brick. That might give you more of a feeling of being able to pull the brick in against the head. But again, elbows are shoulder width apart. Lift up the hips. Look towards the floor initially between your forearms, and then you start to look towards the feet. Walk in, bring your head down, back of the head to the brick, but pull the brick against the back of the head to help you elevate the shoulder blades. Lift the shoulder blades, walk in if you can, lift the heels, Draw the sitting bones up, but keep your thoracic spine moving in. So the back chest lifts up, and then walk out, lift the head up, and come back down again. And once more, have a rest. When you're ready, come to sitting. We're going to use our belt again, but this time for Chaturanga Dandasana, and the belt will be offering us support. Let's use our bricks underneath our hands, shoulder width, just flat bricks, and then use your belt. Now, we need to make that just a little wider than our shoulder width so that when you put it above your elbows and you bend the elbows, you want the belt to come to the lower ribs, certainly not across the chest. You don't want to be impeding the movement of the chest. So belt to the lower ribs, that's what's important. It comes just above the elbow crease, no higher. So then I want the belt to be coming more towards the elbows to be coming more towards the side ribs. If your belt's too tight, your elbows would be forward. And then as we come into the pose, you can explore, is the belt too tight? Is it too loose? Let's place the hands on our bricks and come into the straight arm plank. So your wrists are vertically under your shoulders. Your shoulders are vertically top the wrists. And be strong in the mid body. Tailbone in. Now, as we bend the elbows, pull the heels forward so that your shoulders come beyond the line of the wrist, more towards the line of the fingertips. Then the belt should come to your lower ribs. Then you can lower yourself. Lower ribs are being held, but resist the shoulder tips away from the floor and watch you're not sticking your buttocks up. Tailbone in. Then can you push back into your down face dog pose and take a couple of breaths here. You want to give the arms a rest. You can walk your hands back, remove the belt, rest the arms in Uttanasana. If your hands don't easily reach the floor, catch hold of your elbows. This can be very restful for the wrists. So whether the back of the hands are on the floor or the hands are catching the elbows, the wrists can relax because there is a bit of pressure in the wrists when we're doing our Chaturanga Dandasana. Okay, let's come up. Get your belt ready. We're going to do it again. Good to not have the buckle against you, so you see how my buckle is further away from my body. Again, place your hands onto your bricks, shoulder width. Step back for your plank pose, straight arm plank pose. So initially, shoulders are stacked vertically top the wrist. But then when we intend to come down, you need to move your shoulders forward. So you pull the weight forward, the heels come forward, the calves contract more. So then your belt is on your ribs, not on your chest. Shoulder tips press away from the floor. Draw your tailbone in. So thighs and shins press up, tailbone in, and then push away from the floor. Back to your dog pose. Take a couple of breaths. And again, you can walk your hands back to your feet, remove your belt, and once more, relax the arms. And then when you're ready, hands to the waist. Inhale and stand all the way up. Now, your arms and shoulders may be tiring, but if you've got more wind in your sails, we're going to do one more practice before finishing up, and that is handstand. Now, if handstand is a challenge for you, I do have a video especially for learning handstand, so I'll put the link for that up here as well as down in the description box below. So if you're struggling with handstand, I'd suggest you take your mat to the wall and you can use your belt around your arms and you'll be stepping your feet up the wall like so. So you'll be doing what we call the handstand preparation. But if you're okay at kicking up into handstand, you can do that on your own. We'll be doing that a couple of times. So I'm going to turn my mat the other way. And we can use the belt, as I said, to support the elbows. Now this can be of great benefit to a lot of people. Having that shoulder width belt, so again, make sure you measure this because we did have it a little bit wider for our Chaturanga Dandasana. So that when you place your hands on the floor, your arms are held by the belt. The positioning of the belt is such it could be slightly above the elbow, could be directly around the elbow. You can see there it's around that elbow tip, or it could be on the very upper part of the forearm. So that's something for you to explore. Where does it feel most supportive? Where does it help you in keeping the arms straight when you kick up into handstand? So for handstand, I'll usually work with my fingers length between the wall and my fingertips. And then I place the hands. So I've got shoulder width hands. Now, we'll have a favoured leg that wants to kick up first. So let's say your left leg is stronger. You'll be bending that left knee, preparing the right leg to go up first. The left leg will spring you up off the floor. But we're going to alternate our kicking leg in a moment. So we're going to kick up, we'll hold for a few breaths, we'll come down, and then we'll try kicking with the alternate leg. So when you're ready, inhale, exhale, kick up. Can you find the wall? Press the heels to the wall, push away from the floor, whether you look out towards the middle of the room or you look towards the floor between your hands. But you push away from the floor. Arms and hands push down into the floor, torso rebounds up, away from the floor. Heels slide up the wall, tailbone lifts up towards the heels. Then the leg that you kicked off the floor with, you lower that down first. And we rest. So we can rest in Uttanasana, back of the hands, or you catch the elbows. And you breathe. When you feel ready, we go for our second time up. Again, you can get your belt in place, set your hands, your fingers length away from the wall, and this time we're going to see if we can kick with the alternate leg. So your weaker leg, that is the leg that's going to spring you up. And you may take a few attempts at this because that leg might not be used to doing it. But give yourself some attempts before you give up and go back to your favorite leg. Inhale. Exhale. Kick up. Find the wall. Heels together. Push away from the floor. So if you can, you create enough clearance between your belt and the body for the head to fit. But then can you press your buttocks forward away from the wall to help lift the tailbone up? Slide the heels on the wall up and make sure the inner hands are pressing down. Knuckles of the index fingers. Then the leg that you sprung off the floor with, you bring that down to the floor. And again, let's rest. So we can be here in Uttanasana, resting the wrists. If the hands don't rest on the floor like this, you could potentially put your bricks underneath your hands so the wrists are resting that way, or you catch your elbows. Then when you're ready, hands to the waist, raise the head up, raise the torso up, and come to stand all the way up. There are numerous postures that we can practice to develop our shoulder strength, and these poses were just a few of them. If you like practicing with me, I invite you to check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. There are now over 400 full-length classes in that video library, and I'm adding new classes to it each week. I invite you to subscribe with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.